Your favorite artists. New music discovery. Candid conversations, unfiltered. Loudmouth, little lady, lots of music history. Broadcasting live from New Jersey, it's the Carr Stereo Podcast with Terrie Carr.
It is the Carr Stereo Podcast. It's my new music discovery feature, which is my favorite part of doing this podcast because I love chatting with the future of rock and roll. What I love about the band Vengent Strays is not only are they great musicians, they're such an amazing story, and you guys all look like rock stars. So let me sort of start to my left here. I'm going to introduce Thomas and Jacob. Thomas and Jacob Stibbie. They are twins. Did not realize that. You guys do not look at all alike, but the brothers are here. So thank you guys so much for joining me.
Yeah,
hey, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having us.
And you guys are together. Where is London?
I am in Wildomar, California, somewhere in between San Diego and LA.
And London is the bass player for the band. And then we've got Logan. For those of you watching the YouTube version, Logan is looks very professional there. And he literally looks like he is on the cusp of making music. And I love
And here I am over just being my ADHD self instead.
I love that, though. You look like you're on the cusp of making music. So I read this quote about the band Vengent Strays. More than a band, it's a movement. I love that because it tells me one thing. And that one thing is that you guys really believe in everything that you're doing. So I think that music starts with that. I think it comes from the throat or the hands or wherever you're playing. But I think the belief in your gut and coming from here is the key. So Thomas, talk to me a little bit about forming the band, what you guys were doing before, because you guys are very seasoned musicians.
Yes. So maybe 15 years ago, my brother and I, we started an 80s tribute band. We called it Stay Tuned. We would do 80s covers. And then there was a time where me and my brother were talking. We're like, why don't, instead of doing 80s covers, why don't we just form an original band and just see where we can go with this? I was like, I'm totally cool with that. So we did one last show back in August, I believe.
Yeah.
Which was our final farewell Stay Tuned show. Then we started just transitioning into original music. That's when we actually started meeting London. And we actually told him hey, we have this original project. And we were looking for a bass player. Would you want to just hop on and play some songs? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we started playing, and then I think I officially met Logan maybe sometime after that, because Jacob met him way before I did. And we're like, hey, we need a drummer. Do you want to do something with us? And he's like, dude, I would love to do some original project, because that's what I've been wanting to do. I'm used to playing the 80s stuff. But I think for me, it'd be a lot better if we can just do an original thing. So we started recording a lot of music. We just recorded our first single that came out earlier in October, and a music video that came out as well. Hopefully you guys can check that out. And once we did that, I knew it was a goal for us to maybe this is the thing. Maybe this is where we should just take off and just do an original project.
But I want to stop you for a moment. You weren't in a tribute band. You were in the tribute band. This was the California rock star 80s.
Yeah, that is true.
It was not just when you said you were in a tribute band. No, it was the shit. You guys
honestly,
were amazing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Everyone came to see the band play.
Well, that's kind of where we decided.
Right.
So when you see numbers and growth and And people didn't just come to hear the songs, they came to see us.
They came to see the show.
You know, and they were saying, Jacob, you're my favorite guitar player, and I'm playing other people's songs, and it's like just a weird thing to hear, when you're covering music. But yeah, we just kind of, I don't know, just the light bulb went off, and I honestly too, watching the Bon Jovi Hulu doc a couple of years ago when that came out, he did covers and realized, we got to start writing music. And I remember seeing that, and I just kind of told him, like, dude, that's something we got to branch into. So it was a very slow and steady thing. In the back end, we're still doing Stay Tuned, and we had so many shows booked out.
Because the money comes in, though, too.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. And
Yeah.
again, not to interrupt you, but it's so hard being a working musician. And then you have people throwing money at you.
No, it took we wanted to get this out. We started recording in 2024 in summer, and we're like, oh, we'll do it this fall, and then it kind of just kept, because you can't say no to money, so we obviously we're still playing. And then we got to headline Whiskey A Go Go and headline like the Viper Room and some places, and then we'd fill it up, and we played a theater out here that the cap is 600, and we sold it out, and it's pretty crazy. It was surreal, but then we were just like, instead of them singing, Looks That Kill back to us, we want them to be singing our songs. But honestly, doing the tribute band, like you said earlier, being seasoned, it gave us so much experience, not only with just live show production and, storytelling per se through a set, right? But just being able to adapt in certain situations, learning how to work with different teams and whatnot. And I think that knowledge is a superpower that a lot of young bands don't have that we do. And I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, honing that craft. You guys have been honing your craft. You've been building the bricks. And I love that you mentioned John Bon Jovi and the Hulu documentary. I spoke to him before that came out. And I said, John, when we were kids, because we kind of grew up around the same time. He's older than I am, but I grew up with the Zakk Wyldes of the world and the Dave Sabos of the world and the Trickster guys. And we were all kind of kids coming up in music together. I went the radio route, obviously, and they went the rock star route. And John said, yeah, but don't you remember, I was never really the guy playing in the clubs. I was the guy learning how to write the songs. I was not into being in the cover band. So I love that you brought that up, because that's such an astute thing that you picked up. So I want to move on to let's go to London. So London, you're playing bass. And was bass the first instrument of choice for you? We kind of heard how you got together with these guys, but talk to me a little bit about your inspirations as a bass player.
Okay. First, I will say bass was not my first instrument. I've always been a guitar player.
Players, though. Yeah, I find bass players usually start somewhere else. And then all of a sudden a band goes, we need a bass player. And then that sort of gets to be your introduction to being a bass player.
100%. Exactly. So I've always been more of a guitar player and songwriter. And that's how I even first sort of got introduced to Jacob and the guys, just through mutual friends playing music like that and dabbling with songwriting and everything. But through their Stay Tuned project, I played some bass with them and hopped on some shows. And that really started the whole brotherhood thing with us and the band. But bass playing style, because I'm a guitar player, I never played a bass with my fingers. That's not a technique I ever explored. So I'm a straight up pick guy. I play like Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, you know what I mean? And that's, so he's more of my inspiration. So going back, and really my ear now is trained more towards listening for bass and what are these guys doing, and where do I walk during the spaces and moments where I'm adding to the song, and yeah.
Yeah, I love his style too, because I think he's such a gritty player. He plays from the grit. He's got that gritty style of bass playing that is only his own. So I love that you brought him up. So Logan, so we hear about Logan. Logan's like this drumming, dare I say it. Are you 25 yet? No, I don't think you're 25 yet. Are you, Logan?
Sorry, that was my bad. I'm 24.
You're 24. Okay. So
I'm sorry. I'm routing, like I have like this crazy like routing. Actually, I can move my camera. I have like this crazy routing setup right now. I was just testing my mic and I forgot to unmute. That's my bad.
That's okay. Look, this is what happens via Zoom. I said you've got the best looking setup of all of us. But listen, you're the guy that people have been buzzing about you for a really long time. You've performed with some legends. The legends are sort of like behind you, giving you their seal of approval, for lack of a better phrase. I'm going to let you talk about the legends because I think if I say it, it's almost like it's unbelievable. So talk to me about some of the people that have been in your orbit.
Honestly, I mean, it really all starts from like the very beginning. I got into drums because of my dad. He plays guitar, and he's been my biggest inspiration to help me just like put myself out there and just really put my best foot forward as a musician. And I've had the privilege of playing with Steve Lukather. I've gone to open up for Eric Clapton's Crossroads Festival. I've been on tour with Canadian lo-fi and hip hop artist Powfu, and I've just had the opportunity to work with so many amazing people throughout my career. And now I have the privilege of working with Vengent Strays, and it's just been an absolute pleasure, and it's just a treasure to have ended up like right here. Like I couldn't be more grateful.
I love this is your guy. This is your guy who, when he's talking about all these people he works with, and he says, and this is my band. These are my people. This is my tribe, and this is my band. I think Steve Lukather, the Luke. I mean, God, who's better than Steve Lukather? He is just, and now
I could not say.
Now, yeah, I think music just comes out of his pores. He's just is music. If there was like a musical note kind of guy, it would be Luke. And I think he said about you, Logan, he just said like he has it. He has it. And that's got to be incredible to hear as a young musician. Really is. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say too, like Luke is, I mean, he's one of my favorite people in the world, and he's such a character, and he has said some of the funniest things that I don't think I could possibly repeat without violating like YouTube guidelines. But yeah, he's one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and musically he's just one of the best, not just guitar players, but musicians I've ever worked with. Because anyone could be a good guitar player, anyone could be a good drummer, anyone could be a good singer. It takes a lot to be a good musician, and Steve Lukather is a great musician, and Jacob's a great musician, and Thomas is a great musician, and London's a great musician, and I do my best. You know, I dabble here and there.
I do my best. Talk to me about the writing process. So you guys have this cool new song out called Passion on the Run, and it's very drenched in that classic sound, which I think is the sound of rock and roll now. I think people want to hear rock and roll that sounds like rock and roll.
That's what we're hoping for.
Absolutely. It's the spirit of what music is. It's playing, it's singing, it's riff, it's hook, it's melody, it's songs. It's all the things that we grew up, no matter what your generation is or was, loving about rock music. So talk to me a little bit about, if you can, crafting songs and how you go about crafting songs as a band. I'll go maybe to Thomas first with that.
So basically what we do is Jacob usually would come up with a melody on the guitar, and I would try to come up with words. And basically for this song, this was actually an original song that London used to do. But I think he wouldn't help us. He came over and he helped us out, like try to figure out like some bass lines and try to figure out stuff in like the chorus. Because for choruses, for our ideas, we wanted to do something like where people can sing along. We wanted to do like an anthem kind of gangy vocals. So when you hear like the passion on the run, it sounds a lot bigger instead of just a simple thing. So when we came up with this, I knew for a fact that this was gonna be our first song to just skyrocket and see where it goes.
Custom made for live performance.
Exactly.
No, honestly,
which I think is what you guys do best.
Yeah. When we write, we definitely approach it in the realm of live. And I don't know, just making it sincere and genuine too. Just being ourselves through it, not trying to sound like anybody, because I think that's a big problem with a lot of bands that I hear, and not dogging on anybody. I mean, if you're working, that's awesome, but just the template formula, people just try to do what they think will sell, which I understand. But there is something about the music decades ago, and the reason why it's still on the charts is because it was just pure and genuine and sincere. And like I said,
Yeah.
I don't know. So we just wanted to be that. We wanted to be a breath of fresh air. We wanted to be the first us and not another somebody else. And I really think our sound declarates that. And yeah, every song's kind of different. Some songs, I mean, London will come with us with something, or I'll come with something, or Thomas. And yeah, everyone's completely different, but we usually start with some sort of concept, and we just kind of run with it. And we all get together, and it's very collaborative. And that's something that's really cool too, is everybody's got their piece in the song. And why that matters is because, if you have one ingredient for a dish, it's not a great dish. You need several ingredients, right? So having all the little flavors make it Vengent Strays.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And Terry, when you said something about the spirit of rock and roll, right? That's why this works. When we get together and we write, like however it's birthed, like genuinely all four of us just innately carry that spirit of rock. Like we're not trying to be something other than that. It's just like, this is what we love, and it's just kind of coming out of us.
And I feel there are a lot of bands that are kind of trying to follow that path. And that's why rock is in such a healthy place right now. I don't think people realize it. Rock is the second most streamed genre of music. When you get some people that go, oh, is rock dead? Or people still interested? I'm like, I've been in the rock game and the radio game for more than half my life. I broke records on the air like Def Leppard and Nirvana, and rock is at one of its healthiest positions right now. So I think that these young rock bands that are being primed to make original, great new music, it's an awesome time for that. And I love going out to a show and seeing like kids, parents, and at some shows, the grandparents. You'll see 3 generations of rock fans. You go to like the Leonard Skinner show, people are like
Yeah,
eight to 80.
5
I mean,
generations.
it runs the gamut. And I love seeing that. That's what music is all about. And I think that that's what music fans are all about. So are we working on a full length record? Are you guys going in the studio? Give us some future plans for Vengent Strays. I think the next year is going to probably be a busy year, a great year for you guys. So anybody who wants to take this question, what do you think 2026 is going to look like?
Yeah, so we have several songs recorded. We've kind of gone back and forth with do we drop them all at once, or do we do a couple EPs, a full length? So we'll probably do singles, just at first, with a video for every song. I think there's something cool about visually seeing the song come to life, and that's something we're very proud of too. So yeah, we have a headline set ready to go, original music, and then we do know obviously 17 hours of all your favorite cover songs. So it is kind of fun, so we can dip into those too. But we have like a cool little week in December. We're going to be opening for the band Letter Kills, doing a show at the Constellation Room on Wednesday,
Santa Ana.
Yeah, December 17th, and Friday, December 19th at the Voodoo Room in San Diego. So those will be cool shows. And yeah, 2026 is going to be a big year. We definitely want to be loud and proud and push it like all heck. And yeah, so just try to get songs out, videos out, and tons of shows. And that's something that we love doing, is playing our asses off.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. It's a great idea. I speak to a lot of artists now. Some people still like the album, the sequencing, the top to bottom. But then there are artists that feel like, you know what? We want to put out great songs. And I feel like if we throw them all on an album, people aren't going to get past the third one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we just don't want to, we don't want to blow the load right away. We want to make
We're
sure.
gonna release some unique covers too. And try to
Oh,
get
that's
some,
awesome.
some
that's
friends
fantastic.
of ours that are pretty well known too, to hop on some songs. So
Oh, what a great idea. That's amazing. I love that. Super unique. Wonderful. All right. So I'm going to do kind of a little bit of a round table. I'm going to start with Thomas. Thomas, what was your inspirational musical moment when you looked at someone, a front man, heard a song, saw someone performing, and you said, you know what? That's for me. I have to do that.
I'm so glad you asked me this question. So, my inspiration of how I became a lead singer was Freddie Mercury from Queen. It was something about him. It was the way he could entertain a crowd, just not only with his movements, his like physical movements, but also just his voice. I remember, I think I saw Live Aid. I was like a little kid. I saw Live Aid for the first time and I heard him sing Bohemian Rhapsody and he did like straight into Radio Gaga and I'm just like, dude, I'm like, man, I wish I could do some. I'm like, I want to do something like that. So basically, I just started singing when I was 5. And what I would used to do is I would always sing it for my friend, like my family and their friends and stuff. But what I would always do is I would always turn off the television and I would like sing through the television like I'm on TV. And I thought that was the coolest thing
He
for
did
me.
that right before the interview too.
Yeah, I did that too.
I love that. He's still doing that. It takes
Oh,
you
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
So
look, it doesn't, that's the gold star standard.
exactly.
That's the standard.
Yeah.
If Freddie inspires you and that
Oh,
was your
man.
moment, it
But-
does not get
Yeah.
better than that. All right, Jacob, your favorite riff, like one of those riffs that when you either play it or when you hear it, your mind just goes.
Oh my gosh, that is a very tough question.
You can give me like a couple, like in a row, if you want to just do like a couple letter.
Yeah, I would
big
say,
riffs.
I mean, I've always loved the riff to Somebody Get Me a Doctor. So by Van Halen, obviously Eddie,
I was gonna say
and
that.
then Randy Rhoads too. You got to put Crazy Train in there. That was the first song we ever performed live, and
Yeah.
it was not great, but
No.
we can play it great now. So
Yeah, that's Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Any Van Halen riff.
yeah.
I
Well, honestly,
mean-
Mick Mars too, and Richie Sambora was a huge influence for me, and I think he's very underrated. But a lot of the Sambora riffs off of Slippery When Wet too. I mean, just his playing was so musical. I love the shredder guys, but I really like the musical guys too, like Neil Schon as well, and the guys that just make the guitar sing. I mean, that's always been my thing. So I'm trying to bridge the gap of those two in my playing.
Yeah, the melody guys, the guys who vocals and guitars almost kind of mesh.
Oh, yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Sambora is
Mhm.
definitely one of those guys, very underrated harmony guy as well. London, your most influential moment in music when you went to a concert. Who did you see in concert when you saw someone live that moved you so much?
Oh man, concert. Believe it or not, I think the time that I felt the most from a concert actually happened to be a worship concert a while back, where because I had always known that music tapped into something in the soul, but it was something about music being spiritual in a sense, like the unified body of people singing the songs, the way that the music was, like how it affected the entire space. That really unlocked and transformed something in what music does to people, bringing them together, forgetting the rest of the world. We're unified here in this moment. It's powerful. It's, immersive.
That's why I'm happy when I ask questions like this, because I get an answer sometimes. I'm just looking for your moment, and everybody's moment is a little bit different. Logan, favorite drum fill? Like what did you want to play growing up as a kid? And you were like, man, I don't know if I can get there. This is the one I strive for. This is the one that I try the hardest to emulate.
Favorite drum? Ooh, okay. That's a okay. I gotta think about this because actually, okay. I remember when I was a kid, I really wanted to play Painkiller, and I remember just spending hours and when I wasn't very good, I remember just spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trying to get it right. And of course, it wasn't clean at the time, and I feel I don't know why, it's I feel like this, forgive me because this actually isn't rock and roll, because like as a child, Painkiller used to be my favorite. Now my favorite isn't actually a drum fill, but it's the drum groove for Footsteps in the Dark, Isley Brothers. I know this isn't.
Oh my God, this is
Ooh.
crazy.
I love it so much. It is
Amazing.
it's one of the most
Dang,
sampled
bro.
drum grooves of all time. And it is my favorite thing to play. Like literally, okay. Out of all the gospel chops I could do, linear stuff, like groups of 5, 7, 9, like polyrhythms, whatever. My favorite thing to play drum wise is Footsteps in the Dark. And that's literally all there is to it. It's so simple. I love
did not
it.
think you would pick the Isley Brothers. This is just crazy. It's
I
funny
love
because
the Isley Brothers.
me too.
Yeah, dude.
I had Vernon Reed from Living Color on with me last week, and he just did a whole Isley Brothers, Ernie Isley like thing. So this is wild. In 1 week,
Nice.
I've talked to rock bands, and the Isley Brothers have come up twice. So amazing point. See, this is why now I'm becoming probably your biggest fan.
Even John Bonham like had like influences from like a lot of like black culture and like old school like R&B way back in the day. Like it's a lot of influence comes from like that specific genre, you know, like rock and roll, Led Zeppelin. That's like it all comes from that, you know. The Purdy Shuffle, all of that, you know. There's
Zeppelin
a
stole
root
all
from
those
everything.
songs. They're all blues songs. There's no doubt about that. And it's funny, when I talked to Vernon Reed last week, and he started the BRC, the Black Rock Coalition, 40 years ago. It actually is coming up on the 40th anniversary, where he wanted Black musicians to be noticed for being people that influenced rock and roll and are rock and roll players, you know, and he really tried to move that movement forward. But we spoke about that, and he said to me, he's like, it started with us and we're still doing it. And we definitely want our rightful place in rock and roll. So, these influences are phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I love when somebody lobs something in and it's a total surprise for me. And I'm like, holy shit, this is why I like this band so much. Wow.
There's so many roots to like some of the greatest records like anyone has ever heard in their entire life. Actually, I just remember the original song for Led Zeppelin Rock and Roll was I Hear You Knocking. It was Little Richard, right? Or am I losing my mind?
Zeppelin took so many.
They took
songs.
everything.
They really did. They really, really did. And, you know, kind of made it their own, but then you're kind of listening and you're like, wait a minute. That's, you know, the Lemon song is not really the Lemon song. And, you know,
right, exactly.
Yeah, that was the Led Zeppelin formula. And of course it worked incredibly great. Vengent Strays, I think your formula for just feeling it from the gut and writing it from the heart and being proficient musicians. See, that's the big part too.
Yeah.
Whether it meant perfecting those covers or finding the bass player that was a little bit different in sound, or being a metal kid who still loves the groove of the blues. I think all of these things are the ingredients for the sauce that makes a great rock band.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. We agree. So,
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Terrie.
Yeah. And Passion on the Run is such a cool song, just a real killer rock vibe. I want everybody to find it, download it, listen to it. And I can't wait to see you guys out on the road. I'm hoping 2026, you know, gets you on tour, gets you on some of the festivals, and people get a chance to really see how great you are live. I think for Jacob and Thomas, I kind of got a little more familiar with you guys watching some of the videos that you guys have up on YouTube, some of the shorts that are out there. There's some really, really good stuff there. And that's what I love about YouTube. The one thing I love about social media and YouTube is there are great ways to find things that we couldn't find in the past before.
Yeah.
So, always knew that you guys were talented. Didn't know you guys were going to be so great in an interview. So I thank you so much for hanging out and spending some time with me, because I feel like I really have gotten to know you. Now we need to go out and have cocktails and talk music.
Hey,
Yes.
all of our
I
favorite
love that.
records.
Yeah, just
I
let us
love
know.
that. Thomas, Jacob, London, and Logan from Vengent Strays. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Carr Stereo podcast. It was such a pleasure to meet and have you guys on.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much, Terrie.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Don't forget to like this podcast and subscribe to the Carr Stereo page on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Rob Moorhead. TC and I will see you next time. Don't forget to like this podcast and subscribe to the Carr Stereo page on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Rob Moorhead. TC and I will see you next time.